This video is brought to you by...
Hey, what's up? What it is? Yeah, it's your boy AC Green. And we at the end of the year again. And what I came to do is to come and thank you personally for supporting the brand all year long. And also what we want to do over here at Cool Green Clothing to show to you our appreciation and love and support for you that you've been having for us all year long. What we're going to do is we're going to kick Black Friday off early just for you. So go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and take advantage of these amazing sales that we got going on right now. And also, by the way, you already know, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony 2Times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story. It's a lot of twists and turns in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. Marriage, just like everything else in the world, has its pros and cons. When you feel connected with someone enough to jump that broom, most people understand it's for better or for worse, through sickness and health. Now, early on, most married couples hold strong, but we are only humans. And every now and again, with the temptation of the world, some already taken men and women slip up and step outside of their union, thinking either the grass is green on the other side, or as I heard so many times before, people say just for excitement and to experience something different. Most people feel like I got this. I'm slick, I won't get caught. As long as my side piece play their part, my significant other will never find out. Even though this process of thinking is wild and can cause unnecessary issues, what some don't realize is when you jump out there in them streets, you might be the one to get caught up. Either it becomes a habit and you get sloppy and start to jeopardize the life you and your partner built together, or you catch feelings and fall in love with an outside man or woman. Now things get tricky. You trying to keep tabs on two people, one that was never yours in the first place, hide your secrets, and keep both relationships stable. But that's almost impossible, as you are the married one, not the side piece, that has options to expose you or move on whenever they feel like it. And some simply can't handle that. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing the case of a man accused of taking the life of his side chick's boyfriend, all out of jealousy. Back in 2017, Daniel Green was a 35-year-old man that seemed to have it all. A great career, being a former firefighter with the PG County Fire Department, in which he worked there from 2002 all the way up to 2013. After that, Daniel was able to get a nice home for him and his wife, as he was also married. It seemed he had a pretty good and stable life, but hiding a secret, a side chick, a woman who we will call Brittany, that he grew up with and knew ever since elementary school. The two had reconnected, and by 2017 had an on again, off again 5-year relationship. Trying to juggle a marriage and girlfriend was getting hard on Daniel, making his wife suspicious of him staying out or not coming home at all, and Brittany losing interest fast, feeling like something was up. Eventually, by November 2017, she moved on completely and found a new boyfriend, 31-year-old John Hickey. John was an ambitious Baltimore County volunteer firefighter who also had a photography business. John had just recently decided to move to the city to further his career and to start training to be a full-time Baltimore City firefighter. He took his dub and rented a spot in Fells Point to be closer to his work. As Daniel got the news Brittany had moved on and found somebody new, he got in his feelings, allegedly using his wife's computer to stalk the couple's page, seeing where they were going and if it was getting serious. Around about the middle of November, John was getting strange phone calls where somebody would call, not say anything when he answered the phone, and just hang up. Also receiving strange text messages, and the situation would get worse when the brake line to his car was cut and someone keyed it. On November 30th, 2017, Brittany realized She didn't hear from John in like 2 days. Concerned because he would always call or text her, she contacted police to do a welfare check. Noticing his car was still parked in the same spot it was at last time she saw him, but no one could get in contact with John. They reached out to the landlord to open the door to the home. Once police entered the house, they found John laying on the couch, unfortunately already gone from a single gunshot wound to the head. With no sign of forced entry and no shell casings, BPD at the time had no motives or suspects. As they spoke to Brittany, she informed them her ex-boyfriend Daniel was acting strange ever since she moved on about a month ago, but she hasn't heard from or talked to him since that October. Detectives and the forensic team determined John was hit early in the morning, about 2:30 a.m., about 2 days earlier. The only lead was the neighbor's security camera in the area. The footage showed the truck pull up on a late night and park right by John's house. And the Caucasian man get out, start pacing up and down the sidewalk for a few minutes before walking through the cut by the homes, and about 15 minutes later, the same man exited John's back door with a gun in his hand, walked back on the street, paced for a few more minutes, got back in the truck, and took off. When the footage was showed to Brittany, she told detectives the man looked just like Daniel. Detectives wanted to bring Daniel in for questioning, and about 5 days later, he was located driving what appeared to be the same truck from the video footage, but it wasn't his vehicle. He stated he borrowed it from a friend. During interrogation, Daniel claimed to have no knowledge about John and claimed to have a solid alibi that night. He stated he was at home, sound asleep with his wife, and she could vouch, and he never left. But while in custody, police got a search warrant for Daniel's home and his phone. The computer allegedly showed he searched John's address and would constantly stalk his and Brittany's Facebook pages. Also, the exact time police felt John was shot, Daniel's phone was turned off. With that, he was taken into custody, charged with first-degree hit, home invasion, use of a firearm during a felony, and other charges. As John's family and friends and fellow firefighters laid him to rest, they were devastated, but also relieved police arrested who they thought was the suspect. But as court dates came around, the case would get tricky. Information came out pointing to Daniel being a married man and living a double life, but he maintained his innocence the whole time. As his attorney and family stated that being unfaithful wasn't a crime, and that's what he was getting prosecuted for. His wife at first stuck to the alibi he was at home with her. Prosecutors attempted to paint a picture of a jealous man who felt Brittany would forever be his, and where some felt it would be an open and shut case. But year after year would go by with no conviction for Daniel, even though he remained in custody. The problem was lack of evidence. No weapon found, no shell casings on the scene, no fingerprints, just the surveillance footage and Brittany's statement claiming the man in the video looked like him. Daniel's lawyer felt the state and prosecution was reaching and tried to get the footage taken out of the state's evidence, but the judge allowed it and other still images. After 5 years, many court dates and motions were filed for charges to be dropped and Daniel to be released, as the case seemed very circumstantial. But the state would find a trump card, a surprised key witness, Daniel's wife, who we will call Heather. She claimed and testified he was gaslighting her the whole marriage and messing with her head to hide his secrets, even going as far to printing up fake divorce papers with signatures of him and her to show Brittany and other women, saying that he was divorced, staging a fake bachelor's pad equipped with furniture, TVs, and everything on the outskirts of Pennsylvania, in which the home was an empty rental property, and where some say Daniel was squatting in, and the landlord didn't know anything about it. Heather also stated he used company credit cards to fund his affairs, and when he would disappear for weeks at a time, she claimed Daniel told her he was out on business trips. What put the nail in the coffin, she stated the alibi was all made up, and Daniel asked her to lie to police for him, but the night of the hit, he wasn't at home. It seemed the trial was getting more complicated, as John's family felt the state had enough to convict, but Daniel's attorneys kept pushing back court dates and claiming they had new evidence that could free him. Daniel's family claimed he would never do anything like that. He might have cheated, but he was not capable of taking a life. Eventually, his attorney painted a picture of Heather just being a scorned wife, who was now able to get payback on Daniel for all the times and years he stepped out on her by helping the state. After 5.5 years, Daniel was eventually found guilty on all charges by a jury. But with that, he decided to fire his attorney, telling the judge he wanted to hire a new one who had evidence to free him. The judge in the case actually accepted this and told the court and John's family the state wanted to make sure they got everything right. So Daniel's sentencing has been postponed multiple times. John's family feels like all these attempts and so-called new evidence are all lies for Daniel to continue to control the narrative, and he is guilty of taking the life of John. As of now, even though found guilty, Daniel still hasn't been sentenced. Rest in peace to John. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to his family. It's definitely crazy because he was only in a relationship with Brittany for like a month. If Daniel did crash out over a side chick, that's crazy. Not saying it would have been right or any better. He could have just found another one. But instead, you allegedly targeted a man who didn't even know you or knew what y'all had going on for doing exactly what men do, dating a woman. In the end, John got the short end of the stick. Daniel, like most people, thought he had his situation and feelings under control, but a bruised ego and hurt feelings is not worth life in prison. Yeah, man, crazy story. Rest in peace to John. I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Definitely let me know what y'all think in the comments. Remember to be respectful. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. It's another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.